because it's super like warped. So I don't spin this one often, but I love the album itself. Like, this is a really, really good album. And it opens up to show this like really cool full picture. I've kind of talked about like the whole boxing of this in the previous video, so I won't get too into it, but I really like how this one is presented, where it's just very mysterious. But it's a really good album. Just my copy sucks. My physical copy sucks. But it's okay, because I own it, and that's what makes me happy. Okay, and the next one is the one that everyone knows. In the Aeroplane Over the Sea. I mean, this has been featured so many times on this channel that I feel like I don't even need to talk about it. But obviously, one of the most famous photos ever in music history. Another really cool inside. I mean, really cool inside. I love this inside so much. And then also a really nice backside. I like that picture a lot. But, I mean, one of my favorite albums, if not my favorite, as is many people's. I'm not gonna act like, you know, this is some secret thing, because, I mean, that could not be farther from the truth. But, gosh, I adore this album so much. As does everyone. I feel like anyone that listens to it, you know, they grow that attachment, and they're like, oh, this is my album, you know. But guilty as charged, I am one of those people. So yeah, and the Aeroplane Over the Sea. I love Neutral Hotel a lot. I found them through a band that will appear kind of towards the end. Bam. On to the next obviously to look hand-drawn where it's like, no, everything's perfectly symmetric, and like, I really like the statuette, and then like how it continues on the backside, like it's very pretty, and oh my gosh, it's a beautiful album. I love this album a lot. That's the reason I wanted a physical copy of it over like others, is because like this is a really good album, and this one opens up since it's a double LP, and it's a picture of them. It's a picture of the Decemberists. I really like this picture because I like their outfits a lot. Oh, that's funny. I have a picture. I have a picture from that photo shoot, but they're in like different poses. They're looking different ways. I always thought they were the same photo, but I guess not. But yeah, what a terrible world. What a beautiful world. I really love the Decemberists. And yeah, I found them through Neutral Milk Hotel because Castaways and Cutouts was in Apple Music under like a similar to In the Airplane Over the Sea, and I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. I fell in love. And then the rest of their music also sounded good, so I just listened to them. So yeah, the Decemberists. Anyway, on to the next records. Alright, I'm gonna give you one hint on what this next record is. Yep. These are my Weezer records. Say what you may, say what you may about Weezer, but they do make some pretty good music. And this is a really good album. This one was a gift, and I was very happy to receive it because it was by someone who I was not expecting to get this for me. So I was very happy. But yeah, obviously, I feel like I don't need to say much about this because I think everyone knows this one. But for those of you who don't know what the backside looks like, there it is. Pretty simple, just kind of, you know, credits down here in the track list. Okay, the track list really annoys me on this record because they're not consistent with their capitalization. So that's capitalized and Jonas is capitalized but not name. The World is capitalized but not the rest of the title. The Sweater is capitalized but not song. Say It Ain't So is all lowercase except for the say. In the Garage is the same way. Yeah, so like, you know, most of it is like, okay, this is capitalized and then the rest of it is lowercase, but just not all of them, and it really annoys me. But I don't know. It's not my place to judge. But yeah, I feel like I don't have to say much about this record. So I'll move on to one I probably have to say even less about. And one I have a poster of up in my room of Beirut. Oh, okay, I know I've talked about this one on the channel before, but for good reason, because this is one of my favorite albums of all time, as is many people. Because it's so emotional, it's so raw, and it's so beautiful. Like, these are some of River's best songs, not just because like they're emotional or raw, but just because they genuinely sound good. I've said it before, but I'll say it a million times. Falling for You might be the best song ever written. It is so fun to play on guitar. Like, I was so happy when I learned it on guitar. It was just emancipating to be able to play my favorite song on the guitar, because like beforehand it would be songs I really like, but then when I learned this one, because it's a hard song, a lot of movement, but when I learned it, oh man, the just dopamine that rushed to my brain. Yeah, Pinkerton. Just, you know, what is there to say about Pinkerton? Because everyone knows it. Just, oh, love this album. Anyway, one that, you know, hardcore Weezer fans might actually not recognize or know of. is their fourth album, Maladroits. This one's really good. It's like if you took the Green album with like, it's just like rinse and repeat songwriting style, but did it in like the style of Pinkerton. So it's like the emotionalist approach of the Green album, but with the sound of Pinkerton. So it comes across just okay. It comes across like fine and listenable. So that's why I think it's just like a solid album, you know. There are a few songs on this that I think are like good. Like American Gigolo, Dope Nose, and Keep Fishing. Like solid entrance. Slob is really good. Slob is like really good. Bird Jam, Slave. Slave is like fantastic. So yeah, there are some like really good songs. But then after Slave, it just kind of like, and then it's just like, I don't know, it carries on at like okay, that song was 2 minutes long and just did the same thing. But you know, it's whatever because it's a good listen. So yeah, Maladroit. And then picture of the dudes on the back there. This was the album they picked up their third and final bassist, Scott Schreiner. This was his first Weezer album, and he's still with them to this day. So the cycle was finally broken with this one. Okay, anyway, and then I have one more Weezer album. Skipping quite a few here. It's Everything Will Be Alright in the End. This one is really good. People cite it as like their first comeback since Pinkerton, which they came out in 2016, and Pinkerton came out in like I think 98. So if that says anything to you, but I really like this one a lot. It has a hidden story that you would only know if you watched like the teasers for it on YouTube. And I watched a Mark But Evil video explaining it, and that's how I know about it. And it's a really cool like little like reasoning and story behind this album that really adds to the listening experience, but you don't need it because it's not dependent on it. It just adds if you know about it. But it's a really cool, so this is not a double LP, but it does open up. It's a cool like full picture on the outside, and on the inside it's the same like mountainscape, except like credits and whatnot. So it's a very like scenic cover, very beautiful. first record, well, it's a double LP, but the first one the first one ever that I got with my record player, it was that in Revolver. So yeah, this was my first. Pretty neat. It's a good one to get as a first. That's all the songs there, so. And then the inside is the 4 of them, which I actually have these pictures hanging up on my wall up there. Yeah. So this, if you don't know, is a compilation of all of the Beatles songs that hit #1 on the charts. So the fact that you're able to make a double LP of all of your songs that hit #1 on the charts is just insane. Like, what a phenomenal achievement. You know what I mean? Because that's a lot of songs. But yeah, one. Next up is the Blue album. Let me check if this is the new or old version. This is the old version, so this does not have Now and Then on it. But yeah, so the Blue album, there's the red and the blue album. I'm just going to explain it if you don't know, but I'm going to guess most of you do. The red and blue album are just compilation albums of the early Beatles is the red and the late Beatles is the blue. This is just no particular, it's just like compilations, just random songs that are good. Yeah, this was a gift as well. Just because my grandfather was like, what Beatle albums do you know how to have? And I was like, I have all of them. And he was like, okay. So he got me this one. So this is, old Beatles recreating their Please Please Me cover. And then there's the Please Please Me cover on the back. And then on the inside, because it's a double LP, obviously, it's just, them. Pretty cool. Yeah, I don't really spend this one too much just because, I guess there are some, singles that aren't on the studio albums, but other than that, I would just spin a studio album over this one. But I have spun it before. So, anyway, and then my last miscellaneous Beatle record, of course, is Now and Then, the final Beatles song. Yeah. I remember I was with my friend in Barnes & Noble when I was like, oh, there it is, I want to get this real quick, so I did. Yeah, everyone remembers the hype around this, but only real ones remember the fact that this song had been released on YouTube by the fans for years before anyone knew they were going to do this. So if you listened to Now and Then before it was released, good on you, because you probably heard the better version, in my opinion. I like the Bell version better than this one, but they're both good, because Now and Then is just an objectively good song. And of course, the little clock on the back. If you don't know the story behind this clock, I'd recommend looking it up, because it's pretty cool, and it's about George Harrison, so all 4 Beatles kind of have their goodbye on this. But yeah, and then it's backsided by the Love Me Do remix. So yeah. sunglasses. But I really love Nirvana, and just Kurt Cobain in general. Oh, let me flip it over to the other side here. And believe it or not, I actually like the next album I'm about to show you better than this one. But this one's really great because it's very melodic, like lounge act. That's probably my favorite Nirvana song. I really, really like lounge act. I also like this one home demo called Do Re Mi, which is the last song Kurt ever recorded. That's probably my favorite Nirvana song actually, but lounge act is my favorite like released and like finished Nirvana song, which is on this one. So yeah, never mind. Obviously, one of the most famous albums ever. Got Nirvana out there and like yada yada yada. Everyone knows this album. So, I mean, everyone knows Nirvana. Like I could just say Nirvana and you'd be like, oh yeah, those albums, and then just like move on. But yeah, so yeah, great album. I was super happy when I got this. It was my friend's Christmas gift to me like a year or two ago. So yeah, really love this album. And then the next one, like I said, is probably my favorite Nirvana album, In Utero. Gotta be careful with policy things and whatnot. I'll just flip it over to the back side again. Even though this, like, anatomically the inside of, like, a womb, it's okay, because it just looks like red. I think this is more Nirvana, if that makes sense. This is more raw and angry. And I really love this a lot. The song Grape Me, if you know which one I'm talking about, is probably my favorite on this one. Not because it's like, oh, that's the funny title that like, but because I genuinely really like that song. I think it's a very good song. I think it's beautiful, and it is anti-grape. It is an anti-grape song. And you can look up like Kurt's reasoning behind it, because I don't think that's a good topic to talk about right now. Yeah, this is a really good one. Chances are you've heard RJ Box or All Apologies off of it, if you only kind of know Nevermind. So it's not like Nevermind was their only popular album. Of course, they also have Bleach, which was their debut album. I'll have to go back and listen to it again, but I remember not being as fond of it. But I'll give it a second try, because that was when I was trying to first get into Nirvana. But yeah, this is a really good album. I think it's a better listen than Nevermind, if I'm being completely honest. Which, like, call me crazy, but I do. I really like this album. And it's more sincere, I think, with its lyrics. And just, yeah, it's a beautiful one. Anyway, on to the next set. So, this next one is kind of It's so, and I don't use this word lightly, it's so aesthetically pleasing, just so I don't sound totally stupid. Yeah, it's a very beautiful thing. It matches how beautiful the music is, and I genuinely really love this record. Yeah, it's really cool, and I like it a lot, and I think it was a really good purchase. So yeah, this is kind of like my unique record out of my collection. I love this record a lot. Anyway, back to bands. Before we get into this next one, I just want to say I own Led Zeppelin's 4th album. However, that was just like a random gift that I think my grandmother got me that I've spun once. It's a good album, don't get me wrong. It's just like, you know, it's not in like my personal repertoire, so I just thought I'd mention it, but I don't think it was worth getting out. Anyway, on to this one. Everyone, there it is. For anyone not watching, just listening, it's Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. I was so confident that this album was going to be good. It was like, I don't know, when I was first listening to them, that I just saw it and I just bought it because I just knew it was going to be good, because it's Fleetwood Mac and it's Rumors. And sure enough, I put it on, and almost every single track I was like, oh, that's on this album. So yeah, because like, it's Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. There's the backside for anyone who's never seen it before. It's funny because I showed my friend this record and we were both like, oh my gosh, Stevie Nicks is so cute in this photo. But yeah, really, really good album. Obviously, you don't need to hear me say it. Yeah. And then I found one more, a Fleetwood Mac record. It's plain and simple, their greatest hits. I got this on the same day I got Rumors. This one's really good just because it has, I mean, obviously this isn't like a unique one, so it's not like, oh, this one was the one that had, but this has my favorite song on it, Sweet Little Lies, which is like my main reason behind getting it, because when I got it, I didn't know which album Sweet Little Lies was on, so I didn't know what to look out for. And also, I think this is like the only other Fleetwood Mac album they had, so can't blame me. But yeah, this is really good. They're a bit more grown up in this photo, obviously, because it's, I think, made after the fact, but obviously this is gonna be a good album because you take one of the greatest bands and you take their greatest songs, and boom, you got this. But yeah, on to the next set. Alright, next one here is Blondie, Parallel Lines. This was kind of their breakthrough album. Oh, I think it's their third. Yeah, it's their third. I'm almost certain it's their third album. I really love Blondie. This just happens to be the only album I own physically. And that's because, I mean, it's like in a league of its own when it comes to their discography. Like, yeah, this has, you know, one way or another, Art of Glass, which, like, for just non-music fans, you know those two names, and then for music fans, this has Hanging on the Telephone, Picture This, Pretty Baby, 11:59, Sunday Girl. Like, this is kind of the album, you know what I mean? And what a cool cover, you know, just all of them sitting, man, what a great album. I remember first time listening to this on Apple Music, I was like, wow, this is pretty good. I see why people like Blondie. There's the back. I really like how they do this where it's their shoes, and that's how they say whoever this is the artist that has stuck with me through every single era of music I've gone through, just because they're unique and they're exactly what I'm looking for. It is Beirut. I've talked about Beirut a lot on this album. They were the ones that got me into Neutral Milk Hotel, because Zach Condon, who basically kind of is Beirut, just because he hires musicians, he's the only consistent one, was super into them growing up, and then I saw Airplane and I was like, oh, that's the album that Zach Condon really likes, I'll give it a listen. Yeah, this was his first album, Gulag Orchestra, which came out in 2006. Just, oh, so beautiful. I mean, it's so unique. If I could, the way I describe Beirut genre is world pop, because he uses so many unique instruments just from anywhere and everywhere and anything, but makes like modern day songs with them, but like not modern day and like the, oh, you would listen to it on the radio. Like, he gives it lyrics and like, you know, melodies and choruses that are more akin to what you would hear nowadays as compared to how most of these instruments would be played back when they were made. Pretty straightforward backside. But this album, I think, for being the first, I think is probably my favorite out of all of them. Just because it's the sound that I'm looking for. I call it chaotic orchestra. And it's just so beautiful. Like, you will never hear a band like Beirut. I will tell you that. Like, you can get things roughly similar, but you'll never get something similar. Like, almost ever. I've tried. Like, Beirut is unique. Beirut is Beirut. My gosh. Alright. Their second album. The Flying Glove Cup. So, this one also has a different cover on streaming services, but that is because it is a rectangle instead of a square. I don't know why I didn't choose that. So, he made a different cover for physical releases, and it's very strange because this is, I mean, about as far away as you can get from the like normal cover of it. I don't know where this came from, but okay, it's not bad. It's just very different from literally every other Beirut cover, but kind of, because the next one I'm going to show you looks very similar, but it's different, okay? It's an extenuating circumstance. Yeah, this is probably my second favorite Beirut album. I don't say that with a 100% confidence, but this one is very, very up there. This one I call more French. It's a little bit more refined than album one, but it keeps the beauty. Yeah, just, I love Beirut so much, like so much. A very nice photo there, the Eiffel Tower, which is why I call it French, because, I mean, it actually does have a lot of French inspiration. Actually, I think he was in France while he was making this, because a lot of the videos from that time, he is living in France. And yeah, a lot of the titles are in French. Or are just French locations, like locations within France. This album has probably my two favorite songs by Beirut, Clico and Cherbourg, because they're beautiful and so good. But my favorite one is Prince Laubert, which is on album one. But yeah, the Flying Glove Cup. is much more atmospheric, I'd call it. It's not as full as albums 1 and 2, where there's like some really cool snare drum and there's like 9 different trumpets, and this one is more like pretty organs, and the trumpets are much more drawn out. And yeah, it's really like if I have a headache, I'll put this one on just because it's beautiful. Like the song Melbu, it's just one organ, and I mean, there's maybe like 5 notes that change, and it's like a 2 or 3 minutes long song, and it's just one of those things you sit down to, and you're like, man, and it's great. So there's the back there. That's Zach Condon right there. He's in the church, featured at the front, where he recorded basically this entire album. Yeah, and then it's not a double LP, but it does open up to one of the coolest photos ever of him in the church. I really love that photo a lot. And then this is another version of the track list that shows all the instruments that are played in each song, which is so unique and like so cool. And I really love that idea a lot, because like I think he kind of goes into like the specifics as well. Yeah, he does. Like he says for Spillauken, for example, he says the Roland RS-505. So like he does kind of get into specifics. Like he won't just put like, synth or keyboard. But then he'll also put like baritone ukulele, because it's a little bit silly to put like the part, but like you get what I'm trying to say, right? Like he's specific, but not painfully specific. Bam. Beirut Hatzel. I remember being so excited when I heard this was gonna release. I was like, oh, a new Beirut album. Wow. Because it was at the time when like most of the people I listened to were like either dead or had been broken up for painfully long. So it was like, oh my gosh, one of the bands I like is gonna release new music that's foreign. So I was very excited about this album. So this one's pretty special to me. But yes, that is all the albums in my record collection, at least that I like, that are new, that I purposely wanted, because I have a lot of old records that have been given to me by like my grandparents that I keep in my closet. That is probably equally as big as the collection I've just shown you. So I would have to